This session is, as you see, is about Future Cement Initiative. My name is Bassam Dali. I'm from King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. I'm here to talk to you about a new initiative that has been launched by His Excellency, the Vice Minister, yesterday, and today we had an announcement made to the media. So I'm going to spend a few minutes telling you about this initiative. And then I'm going to hand it over to Engineer Muslih Al-Amrani from the Ministry of Industries and Mineral Resources to tell us a little bit about in the Ministry's activities on reducing carbon from cement. And then we're going to have some discussions with Mr. Majid Al-Asilan, who's the CEO of City Cement. So let me just get started. This picture is a little bit outdated, though, but it gives a picture about what this country is doing in terms of the construction boom and what implication this have on cement. Admittedly, it was sort of produced earlier in 21, but the numbers may not be accurate, but the trend is unmistakable. Anybody who knows anything about Saudi Arabia's or how much is now where the different projects has been announced would sort of believe that this trend is actually what's happening. I'm told by the industry that Saudi Arabia today is the 5th largest producer of cement. Now that's quite a big mouth to say for us, and I believe it's one of the largest in the Middle East. So in other words, we do produce a lot of cement. It is an important commodity for the kingdom. It will empower all these new projects, and hence it is important that we focus on it. Here's also some reports from the past looking at how does the industry compare in different forms as compared to the rest of the world. I'm not going to dwell too much about it because, again, this is a little bit outdated. But basically, there's energy efficiencies, there's clinical substitutions, the energy mix, and of course, the carbon capture, which is something in the future. But you could see that in certain areas, Saudi Arabia can do more. I want to re-emphasize that this is old figures, and the industry has done quite tremendous work in moving forward in this direction. So I'm announcing the Future Cement Initiative. It's basically a collaboration between the university, KAUST, the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, the cement manufacturers, represented by the National Committee for Cement Companies, and most importantly, supported by the Ministry of Industries and Mineral Resources, who can see this as a potential unifying sort of entity that can bring everybody together to think strategically for everybody's interest and facilitating the next steps in this regard. So Future Cement connects industry leaders, academia, and government stakeholders to drive sustainable innovation in cement manufacturing. I didn't sort of call it decarbonization, because this is one aspect of what cement in the future would look like, but of course decarbonization is an important component in it. So our mission is to develop cost-effective, scalable solutions that reduce environmental impact while enhancing economic performance. The idea is that sustainability should not break the bank. Sustainability should be go hand in hand with economic growth. So, as I mentioned, the partners are the Ministry and the National Committee, and we're also working with end users to come on board, and then we have sort of the whole area covered in terms of cement. So we will also service industrial partners on technical projects. So this is where I'm going to extend an invitation to anybody who's interested in cement to come and partner us on a yearly basis type projects on the technical nature. We have a flyer here around that you could use to actually connect with us to be able to participate in this initiative. So our focus is to support research, development, and recommendation of effective, agreeable approaches to future cement. And you could see here what we're trying to develop is not sort of a one party deciding to go this way or that way. Is to bring everybody together and move collectively in a particular direction for the benefits, national benefits, to achieve the projects that this country sort of is trying to achieve, and to do it in a sort of sustainable fashion with everybody on board. So the scope is we want to do sort of enabling and applied research. These are some projects, clinker substitution for emission reduction, energy reduction and lowering sort of carbon intensity, alternative fuels, enhanced carbonation and curing, and carbon emission management, capture and other means. None of this is sort of revolutionary in its own, but what we don't want to do is just import a solution from outside that may or may not fit with the conditions for Saudi Arabia. So we want a indigenously developed solution that will fit our narrative, our conditions, and maintain the industry. We want to do pilot demonstrations of various cement-related areas, connecting between everyone. We're going to hold an annual conference, bring everybody of all different entities who are working in cement, or every industry that's interested, together, inform everyone, and move forward in that same direction. And human capital development is important. These industries are evolving and developing, use of AI, use of different materials. We want to sort of be able to inform and to educate such that we could move this together. So here's an example of projects. I don't want to waste time sort of going through them in details, but what I wanted to show, this is the whole low-hanging fruit that we started with, but by no means is the only projects we want to do. These are ones that actually we're currently thinking about, thinking outside the box, and how sort of it fits within Saudi Arabia conditions. So then here's an invitation to each one in the industry in particular, and also in the public domain and other governmental organizations, is to come and partner with us. We want the FCI, or the Future Cement Initiative, to be the place where everybody can work together, where we benefit from other people's work, but we also add value in terms of coordination, in terms of the research that we're going to do for the benefit of everyone. Of course, we are open to business, and we would love to work with you. As I mentioned, there's a flyer that Ola here has that you could know how to contact us, or basically go to our website, and then you could go from there. So send us an email or visit the website. So there's also the Saudi public and government entities involvement. We invite all these sectors to, we don't want to take over anybody's work. We want to complement what is being done, but we're going to coordinate the effort for the benefit of everyone. So I'm going to stop in here. Thank you all for your attention. I'm going to invite Mr. Musleh to address basically what the government is doing in this regard, and then we'll have some discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Hussam. Thank you very much. Hope this is okay. It's not showing here. Next. So good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying the conference so far. So this is Musleh Imrani from the Ministry of Industry and Mineral Resources. So I'll speak a little bit about the efforts of the Ministry of Industry and Mineral Resources in how to decarbonize the cement industry. So first of all, as you know, the cement production accounts for 8% of the global CO2 emission. And the building environment, everything in buildings like steel, aluminum, heating, cooling the building, this accounts for 37% of CO2 emission globally. Just in the cement production, there is something called the clinker stage. Just before the final cement production, this stage is a major source of CO2 emission. That's why we have to lower and minimize the clinker content in the cement. How to achieve this? By improving the production process, and also by switching to cleaner energy sources like natural gas. And we can track how much CO2 reduced in the process. As we can see in the chart, the Saudi carbon emission, Saudi Arabia cement industry is high at level E right now. And our goal is to bring it down to level C or maybe B. And how can we do this? By also improving the production process and switching to cleaner energy sources. As we can see, some cement companies here in Saudi Arabia, they are doing well, such as City Cement and Safwa Cement and other cement companies. However, our emission level is still high at E level. Other countries like Morocco, they are doing better because they are relying on natural gas. So the Ministry of Industry and Mineral Resources has collaborated with different organizations, such as Cement Concrete Breakthrough and the Cement and Concrete Association, to set standards for green cement, and also collaborating with research centers such as KAUST to find solutions to decarbonize cement. Saudi Arabia, there is something called like greener cement. Saudi Arabia has natural materials such as pozzolan, and this is found in the volcanic area. So we can use this pozzolana as it is without burning, add it directly to the cement, and by doing so we are already reducing the burning, reducing the carbon footprint in the cement industry, and also calcine clay as well. But maybe the challenge is many people are not fully aware of the importance of such type of cement. For example, when I was building my home, I asked the engineer to use the pozzolana cement, but he refused. He said you should use the traditional cement, which has a higher footprint. But I insisted on using the pozzolana cement because even I pointed out that many structures like King Fahd Causeway to Bahrain and several towers were built by using this pozzolana cement. So this emphasizes the importance of educating the engineering offices and also updating the building codes. And that's what the Ministry of Industry and Mineral Resources is doing right now. So for that, the government of Saudi Arabia has launched several programs to switch to a greener energy sources. We have this initiative, the liquid displacement program, to switch from fuel to gas and electricity. We have this initiative, industrial competitiveness program, is supporting the industry to switch to a cleaner energy sources like natural gas. And we have also the Future Factory program is helping more than 4,000 factories to use the advanced technology. So, in conclusion, the Ministry of Industry and Mineral Resources is working very hard to decarbonize the cement industry in line with the Saudi Arabia vision for a sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Mosleh. Let me ask Mr. Majid, you're representing the cement industry in here, and first I'd like you to tell us a little bit about the industry, the extent of it and so on, and also your interest in joining the initiative and what's your vision of what it can be achieved.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bassam, and thank you for a distinguished guest who's making it until this now of the forum, so thank you for being here. I mean, I think you represented the industry in terms of scale, but let's just try to structure the discussion and make it a bit easier. Unfortunately, cement industry is accused for a long time that is the most polluter industry. I would bet that since the Paris Agreement 2014, which used to emit, cement industry globally is emitting around 8%. If we revisit the number today, it's significantly low. And what I believe that, when you look at the full integrated industries goes into cement, whether the energy side or any other particular elements of the whole supply chain, there is a potential where you can figure out that cement honestly can solve a lot of other industries' issues, and I'll articulate in that. In terms of size, okay, Saudi is sitting on around 85 million tons of clinker, by the way, not cement. So if you consider cement, this is above 90, and this will definitely, even make it at a better sequence globally. Usually the emissions or CO2 comes from two directions. To go to a zero carbon or a neutral carbon, then you have to look at the whole supply chain. But let's look at what's under the control of cement companies. You have two sides of it, whether the reaction of the raw materials, and then you have the combustion of the fuel. the country was heavily depending on fossil fuel, hydrocarbon fuel, which emits a lot of CO2 carbon. Now what happened, or what's the updates that's going on? I think considering all of those programs by the Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Environment, I mean, okay, Saudi is part of the world and they realize the importance of environment, how to protect the environment. And this is one of the most important pillars of the 2030 vision. So what did cement does so far, they start looking into the fuel side, the combustion and fuel. We've seen some examples, Saudi cement companies, local companies, who increase their substitution rate of hydrocarbon material or fossil fuel by 30%. This lowered down significantly the carbon emission, and it complemented, or it allowed to generate this waste management industry by producing alternative fuel and etc. We've seen some companies treating industrial waste, for instance, that used to be dumped. So this in itself reduced a huge tons of carbon. On the other side, the reaction of raw material, as Engineer Masleh mentioned, that there is plenty of mineral can be used to lower the clinker factor in your cement. And we've seen companies achieved around 60%. Now what's going on with the government as well, they're looking at the specs of cement, that you have to update those kind of cement. You have to go to CEM 1, CEM 2, and etc. to, have it more cleaner. The other side definitely is the supply chain, and I think this is what we're trying to do. But you have to start honestly. You can't go from famine to feast. You have to be efficient. I mean, the efficiency itself will improve to lower your carbon footprint like anything. And today we have a regulator, special governmental body, which is the Saudi Energy Efficient Center, SEEC, set a benchmark that, any cement producer shouldn't exceed the international benchmark. So, I mean, everything is under the radar. All of the reforms that we've seen on energy prices, fossil fuel prices, helped a lot. And I think the whole industry somehow complementing to the overall 2030 vision. I mean, it was clearly announced to go to a part of the pledge of the government is, okay, to go to a carbon neutral, we have to do more renewable. We have to look at the country fuel mix, if you wish, and energy. So we have more renewable energy being produced. We are lowering our dependency on hydrocarbon and fossil fuels, and then we are going to do the waste diversion. So you have to recycle whatever can be recycled, and the rest can go to waste, to energy application. And this is exactly what the cement industry collectively is doing. Now, FCI, I think, since we have a 17-player, and it's a huge fragmented industry, to make sure that, today companies should spend heavily on R&D. And to bear all of this cost within the current situation of elevating costs and etc., you need a vehicle, you need a think tank, trustworthy, to do this job. And this is, I think, what FCI start doing, scanning all of the evolving and new projects that can help in decarbonizing the industry, and then, individually work with the companies to improve the overall carbon footprint of the industry and the country, and how it can create, other industries and contribute to the GDP in general. So this is in a nutshell what so far the industry is doing.
Thank you, Mr. Majid. An important point about cement in Saudi Arabia, this is a big country, more than 2 million square kilometers. So, and resources are not distributed everywhere in the same way. And hence, solutions need to be found for different entities for different parts of the country. And this will sort of adds to this complexity. But you touched on waste to value. And I know that your company has worked on this for a while, but also the government has looked into where these resources are. I also know that Saudi Arabia has a plan to reduce the waste that goes into the rubbish dumps from 85% to 15%. within less than 10 years. So there's an opportunity. Could you address this, both the government and the industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we started this initiative since 2014, and unfortunately, the supply chain was cracked because there was no any regulation in waste management. I mean, most of the waste, you have a different streams of waste, more than 13 different streams of waste, whether industrial, agriculture, whatever it is. But if we zoom at the hard waste, which is the municipal waste, whatever goes to the landfill, they used to recycle around just 10%, okay? Because there is no off-taker, and in order to reduce or to achieve a zero landfilling, you have to activate the waste-to-energy concept. When you look at the current situation and the landscape, there is a very low, cheap fuel subsidized, so there is no any incentive for companies to move on. Today, we took a lot of initiatives in that. We started operating a couple of landfills, try to do the sorting, and we start generating RDF. PIF, I think, invested in CIRC, which is a major company, and then this company should look after the whole waste management, or in particular, RDF for cement plants. So it's improving. When you look at the supply chain of that, you have handling, you have transportation, this is creating job, and this is lowering a plenty of carbon. When we measure the indirect emissions coming out of the landfills, that was millions of tons. And just imagine if any of those landfills just catch a fire, so I mean, it's a nightmare. Okay, who can offtake and digest all of this kind of alternative fuel, which is the cement? It lent itself to, you have kilns that operate at 1,500 degrees, which can, treat those things. So we're seeing such initiatives moving on. It should be regulated, and this is what's happening. The regulator stepped in, put the right regulator, and try to set the right incentives to incentivize the companies.
As a government, as I mentioned now, one of the initiatives is to diversify this liquid displacement program, and we have a target like to let the cement industry to use 15% of the waste. RDF, which the city cement is doing right now, is taking waste to energy. And this is a target for the government, and we have to collaborate with other entities to help this whole cycle from collecting and transporting these materials to the cement industries to help the government to achieve our target of reducing the fuel and also reducing the carbon emission in the cement industry.
If you allow me, Doctor, here, there is no any shortage of caliber and great minds, honestly, but you need the direction from the government. For instance, in one of the companies, Cement, for instance, at the fuel mix, you have more than 6 different types of alternative fuel. There was an issue with some of the industrial businesses, whether it was the smelters, aluminum, with their industrial waste. So there was a project being studied under the supervision of the Ministry of Environment, and until now it gets licensed, and you start treating this waste at the best environmental practices. So the potential is there, but we just need the direction. We need, on the other hand, to urge, honestly, all of those demand and the giga projects to start, giving a preference that they have to use cleaner cement. And today, I think, to standardize, to avoid any, individual efforts, to standardize, some of the companies start issuing their own EPD, Environmental Product Declaration, officially, so they can, prove where their carbon footprint shows. And I think such initiatives, it just reflect for the whole industry, and it show how mature it is. And I've visited some plants here in Saudi, way ahead of some of the best international practices. But we just need the focus, and we need, everyone think together.
Fantastic. So we do have a positive view about the future, an industry that is willing to embrace change in steady steps towards the future is quite clear. His Royal Highness has announced that Saudi Arabia will become carbon neutral by 2060. I understand that also Saudi Arabia signed a 4-country agreement particularly for reducing emission from cement. So the concept here is to try through smart strategies, try through smart technologies, through innovation and synergies in particular between different industries to reach that milestone and to basically advance the sustainability both from the economic point of view and also from the environmental point of view. Let me remind you, sustainability has three components. It's the economy, it's the people, and it's the environment. And so we need to make sure that we're all moving in the same direction. And this is why, I'm going to invite those interested who have technology to demonstrate, who have ideas that they would like to test and for us to contribute to. Of course, we as a university have many innovations in this field, from calcination and reduction of CO2 emission, to carbon capture, to alternative fuels, to AI in terms of increasing efficiency. So,
yeah, I would just add, Doctor, if you allow me, I mean, we should be very proud as a Saudi industry. Now we've seen a file been applied internationally to applying for a carbon credit. And this is hard to abate sector, matching the international European standards, and they're already there. What stopped that is now you have your own carbon exchange market within Saudi. So that will give a great idea for new technologies that you can intensify the carbon of credit. And then when we see a local company issuing or publishing their full-fledged sustainability report as per GRI standards, capturing 10 out of F17 major objectives, it means that there is a lot of efforts going on here in the kingdom, and we're welcoming all of those great minds to think together and honestly. So answering your question, I think, yes, that's doable, and we are on the right track, and the pace is wonderful. We just need to collectively do it together.
We are in the right direction, and the government of Saudi Arabia has committed to reduce the carbon footprint from all the industries, including cement. And as I mentioned, we have a lot of initiatives, and we are in the right direction to reduce the cement emission or the carbon footprint in the cement industry as well.
Fantastic. So unless any of you want to have some last comments? I think we can.
Well, I think it's a long way to go, but it's doable, and we've seen a great progress, a great initiatives. I mean, today we've seen signing, the MOU by localizing the supplementary cementitious material. What does that mean? That you are lowering the clinker depending on local industry. This is creating job. This is getting the best out of the mineral resources here in the country. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes. We are supporting the research center, we are supporting the industry, and we are supporting the new technology provider to help us to commit to and also to reduce the carbon emission in the cement industry.
Fantastic. So with this, we'll finish this session again by inviting you to participate, to log into our website and subscribe to our news emails, and also by becoming a partner with us in this journey. The future looks positive for all of us. We have willing partners, and I think when we all sit around the same table, we could go there faster. So thank you both for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bassam. Thank you.